Hi, it's Jerry Rivera Jr. again with another video. Those of you who've been watching my videos see how I'm trying to validate so that it doesn't come up again. I'm very close with Tony Napoli, my Uncle Sonny went over that already. So let's talk about Jimmy Hoffa. Okay, obviously a subject that comes up quite a bit. Let me tell you something. You're never going to find him buried anywhere. He's not buried. Not Giant Stadium, not under here. I've heard so many stories. I knew they were never going to find him when it came out. Well, my Uncle Sonny had a very close relationship, great uncle, with G.T. Harrell, the writer. They got to a point where they spoke every day on the phone. Every day for hours. And I have micro-cassette recorders here of all the conversations. You guys can see them here. You know, and yes, to your techies, I was smart enough to take the batteries out so they don't melt inside or whatever. Somebody told me to take them out of there, so I did. Well, he comes down to visit George. I don't want to say where he lives. And they're talking and whatnot. In the middle of them talking about various different things, Sonny was telling him about a chop shop, okay, in Brooklyn, that he used to go to, owned by gangster Paul Vario. For those of you who don't know that name, Paul Vario was in the movie Goodfellas. Paul Sorvino played Paul Vario. He was a captain, Lucchese family. Sonny knew him well. Sonny knew all the heavy hitters well. Because even though he did a lot of time in jail, he never ratted. So they trusted him because he was what they referred to as a stand-up guy. So in the middle of them discussing this chop shop, Sonny starts, firing off these names. They crushed this guy, they crushed that guy, they crushed that guy. And he mentions Jimmy Hoffa. And obviously the writer flipped out. What do you mean, Hoffa? What do you mean, Sonny? This particular junkyard had a crushing machine on site. So George tells me all about it, about the Hoffa. Do you believe it? Do you think Sonny really knew? I said, well, what did he tell you? He says, well, he said that he used to visit Paul Vario quite a bit. I says, yeah, I knew that. He cooked good. I says, and one day Paul Vario tells him to come back the next day. I got something to show you, he says. So Sonny shows up, and in this vehicle, and I'm not going to hold him to the details, whether it was a black Lincoln, a black Cadillac, who cares, right? He's so accurate. They opened the back door. Hoffa was inside with a bullet hole in his head. Sonny thought probably a .22, and an oriental rug covered him. Well, while Sonny was there, they took him to the the machine with the magnet that picks the car up, puts it down, and it's crushing, so it's crushing the car. Paul Vario is standing there. There's a little spigot that came out of the ground, for the hose, came straight out of the ground, in New York. And with his thumb on the hose, he's spraying the car down because what's happening as it's being crushed, fluids are coming out. And Sonny's standing and he's getting shit all over him. And he tells the story, I felt violated. So when he goes back to his apartment where he was living, he took all his clothes off and threw it in the dumpster. Okay? Now, I have something going back years before, that I know he's telling the truth.